Alison Rosen.
Available now in the comedy albums section of iTunes and on AlisonRosen.com. A special episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend, live from the LA Podcast Festival with guests Greg Proops and Doug Benson.
They give you the receipt. They give you the receipt, a couple of dollars, two dimes, a
like
nickel, and a penny,
give you all your
and they
change.
shove it all at you like you're just supposed to take all that different information.
Stick it in your wallet pouch.
What's their question?
This goes in my garbage wallet pocket immediately. Thank you for giving me garbage wallet pocket stuff. Could you throw it overhand at me and I could try to catch it with my garbage wallet pocket?
And if you had ever seen my old wallet, it was
I had to
$1.
embrace whatever the next thing was because I feel bad that I shit on this
better now.
segment.
The question is, do you also hate when this happens?
Yeah, because you get too many things at once. It's like being given a big basket of stuff or whatever. Like, I'm not ready for it all now.
Yeah, it's like you're in porn and suddenly there's 4 dicks. What are you going to do with that?
Right. It's like money bukkake and a receipt.
Money bukkake. Did you really just say that?
Yeah, I did.
Subscribe to Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend on iTunes or go to AlisonRosen.com. Only from Corolla Digital.
Alison's your new best friend.
This is Corolla Digital.
Hello, my little garbanzo beans. It's me, Allison. Before the show officially starts, a few words. This episode is brought to you by the new Squarespace. Squarespace.com introduces a new content management system, making it faster and easier to create a high-quality website, blog, or online portfolio, with professional designs and website templates optimized for any size smartphone, tablet, or computer. For a free trial and 10% off new accounts, go to squarespace.com/bestfriend and use offer code BESTFRIEND12. All right. Gary, I believe we have an iTunes comment of the week.
Alison wants your iTunes comments. Alison wants them, yes she does. Please leave her some iTunes comments and don't forget to click 5 stars.
All right, our iTunes comment of the week this week comes from Marisant1. I definitely butchered that, so sorry about that. And it is titled, Alison is a Great Friend.
I think it might be Marissa NT1. Or maybe not.
Marissa NP1, correct. That's possible. I was trying to make it Mary Snap, but that doesn't work.
We can call her Mary Snap.
All right, Mary Snap says, Allison is a great friend. I
True.
work pretty much alone all day, every day, so I started listening to the ACS, and as soon as I heard Allison, I knew she was a very smart and lovely person, so I decided to subscribe to her show. I am glad I did. I love her show so much. She is just always herself, doesn't give you anything but who she really is. She's sweet, funny, raunchy at times, on ACS mostly, which is awesome, but she is still always her awesome girly self.
I love you.
Please don't take that as an insult.
I don't.
I don't have many friends because they all decided to become parents but still go clubbing every night, so we have nothing in common anymore. But with ARIYNBF, I have 2 new BFFs in Allison and Gary. Thanks, guys, for your company at work and on my runs.
Well, thanks, Mary Snap. Now, Gary, read the headline from the comment below it. We don't have that whole comment, but the headline makes me laugh.
The headline from the comment that I did not see until just now says, she speaks from the fart.
It's true. All right. Oh, and I think we also have an email, yes?
Yes.
And now I'd asked people if you're going to buy something through the Amazon banner on my website, which you should if you're going to buy something on Amazon because it helps the show, doesn't cost you anything extra. I said, email us and tell us what you buy, and then we'll read your email. So we received one.
We did. It is from Sam Harvey, who says, "G'day, mates. I hope..."
Wow, Gary.
That's what it says.
I didn't know.
That's what it says.
I mean, I know, but I didn't know. Go ahead.
I hope Allison and Gary have had a delicious Thanksgiving. I thought I would disclose the purchases I made on Amazon through the link on your website, though it was a couple of months ago.
Yay.
I bought the book Gangs of New York and its sequel, All Around the Town, by Herbert Asbury. And the CD, Psycho Realm Presents Sick Jackin' and Cynic in Terror Tapes 2. I was reluctant to write of these purchases, being Australian and the items being outlaw-themed. I wanted to buy the LA Podfest episode, but for the life of me, I can't find it. Is it only in the US iTunes store? Oh, lamentation. I may have been born an Australian, but I hope one day to become an Australian American. I would like to write a special thanks for the Paul F. Tompkins Part 2 episode. I took away helpful relationship advice from it, and it helped me break a bad mood I was in. It also turned me on to the Thrilling Adventure Hour. You are truly part of the vanguard of modern expression. It is an exciting time to be alive. Thank you, Allison and Gary, for your hard work. May the heavens shower upon you good fortune and vitality. Long live the Republic of the United States of America. Sam Harvey, arse end of the world.
Sam Harvey, you have an excellent grasp of the language. The language. I think we all know what I'm talking about. And thank you for buying that stuff and for telling us about it. And I believe that the Podfest episode that you refer to is available in the Australian iTunes store, I think. Gary, we're in the process of trying to find out for sure for you.
We're looking into it. I've yet to get an answer back, but if we find out before we're done recording this topper, I'll definitely let you know. But yeah, this email was sent a few days before it was live anywhere. So
right.
If you are in Australia and couldn't find it, please do go check again because we believe it should be.
And if you're here, or anywhere.
Anywhere you are.
Anywhere, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And for people here, it is $1.99 in the comedy album section of the iTunes store. It's a special bonus episode live from LA Podfest with Doug Benson and Gray Proops. And I think that I can go as far as to say it is delightful. So go check that out.
Yeah, I'll co-sign that. Delightful is a good adjective.
Thank you. I need to swallow. Hang on.
It's extensive, I would say. It is longer than any episode.
Is that true?
Close to longer than any episode. It's definitely in the
really?
three longest, for sure.
I wasn't aware. It felt interminable.
Yeah, you get and you know it's there's no topper on this one. It's just straight into the show.
There's none of this. There's none of all this good stuff. So if you hate this stuff,
if you fast forward through this, then
they're not going to hear you saying that. Oh,
snap! Hoisted on my own petard.
Yeah, that's right. Snap has gotten a lot of action in this. Mara Snap. It's a lot of those things. I should have called them Snap Peas at the beginning. Oh, look at that. Okay. The new Squarespace. Now Squarespace.com is faster and easier than ever to create a high-quality website, blog, or online portfolio. Squarespace is a unified service for giving you everything you need to create and maintain a professional-looking website, from domains, design, development, hosting, and support. So Squarespace is a content management system that you guys need if you're trying to design anything that looks good. You know, anything like a website or blog or portfolio, because it is so easy to use. It thinks of everything for you. You can drag and drop, not drag and drop. Drag and drop. That's what I'm saying. Someone thought I was saying dragon. No. And if you ever...
Wait, someone thought you were referencing mythological creatures?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Mm-hmm. I know. But I wasn't. I was saying you can drag and drop when you're designing your site, and that is so great, because if you have ever tried to put together a website in the old days when you had to code, I mean, maybe you're into that, but it's hard. At least for someone like me, I found it to be very difficult. And Squarespace is optimized for mobile devices, so the design templates are mobile responsive, which means the site automatically restructures to look good on whatever someone is looking at it on. And, Gary?
Right, so that's one of my favorite features about Squarespace is that you build one website yourself using the drag and drop, or if you want, they do have options so that you can go into the back end and code yourself and make it more specific to your desires. But even if you just use the drag and drop, when somebody goes to your site on an iPad or an iPhone or a Galaxy Note tablet or a computer, it's going to look different on each one of those, and it is going to be optimized so that it looks the best on each of those devices, which I may just be a snob, but when I go to a website and it doesn't optimize for my iPhone, a lot of times I'll just give up.
You throw your iPhone out the door?
Well, I don't throw it because I'm not exactly that
psychotic
or wealthy to be able to afford a new phone, but it's really, it can be annoying. So that's a great feature, and like I said, you can go. It's all built on like a cloud architecture, so it's really secure and stable. And you can go into it and tinker around in the back end if you're more of a nerd like me. And
right, I didn't mean to suggest it's only for novices.
No, if you're a nerd, you can go in there and really, or if you're just a power user. And you don't like the pejorative, you can go in there and tinker around with it yourself. It's got all the latest technologies, HTML5's right there, JavaScript, CSS3, JSON. It's all there. All the stuff that you would get on some of the more bare bones services, but with the added features to make it easy for a novice user. So
use Squarespace for all your website needs. Build it, host it, and update it anytime. For a free all-inclusive trial, go to squarespace.com, sign up for a free account. No credit card needed. Just try it out and start building your website. Then if you decide to purchase it, use offer code BESTFRIEND12 and get 10% off your first purchase on new accounts. That means 10% off the first month or 10% off 1 year, which is an even better deal. That's squarespace.com/bestfriend and use offer code BESTFRIEND12. I also want to tell you guys about scorebig.com. You know how when let's say there's a big game or an event or a musical that you want to go to and you try to buy tickets and they tell you it's sold out and you think, you are just lying to me. You are flat out lying to me. I know there's seats available. Don't give me this sold out BS. Well, Scorebig knows what you're saying. Because the truth is that even when something is sold out, there are always seats available last minute. There's for whatever reason, there are some seats, and they can give you access to those seats. It's like Priceline for events in that you tell them how much you're willing to pay, and then they tell you if they can do that or not. And you never pay more. Like, you enter how much you can pay, and either you can get the tickets at that price or not, but they don't put on extra fees. There's no upcharges or service fees or other things that, other websites where you might go to get tickets would tack on.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's if you say I can afford $50 a ticket, and you want to, you're out the door for $100 with delivery and everything. If they can do it, they do it. If they can't, they can't. But you said earlier that you mentioned last minute, but I just want to let everyone know it's also in advance. If you know that some band just got announced, you can go check Scorebig. They're constantly updating to the second. So when they find tickets that they can make this deal with, they will update the website, and it's really cool. You always pay more than 10%. You always get at least 10% off, and if you're a little bit more patient and if maybe your event isn't as popular, you can get 50-60% off. It's a really sweet service, and they have looked at their competitors and found ways to make themselves attractive. The no fees thing and no shipping for tickets and stuff like that is probably very attractive to somebody who's used some of the other services.
Right. Go to scorebig.com and enter the code FRIEND at checkout and get an extra $15 off scorebig.com's already low prices for your first order. Tickets on scorebig.com are always below box office price guaranteed. Don't forget to enter FRIEND at checkout and get an extra $15 off scorebig.com's already low prices for your first order. I'm going to interrupt the sponsor attention for a minute to tell you guys I think I'm getting a zit on my chin. And I keep playing with it, and I'm probably making it worse. And I can't tell if it is actually a zit, or it might be like, sometimes ladies, you get a hair on your face that you don't want, and you think, uh-oh, I'm turning into a man. Or maybe that's just me. Okay, anyway. But I really need to tell you guys about GoToMeeting. And Adam loves them, but I love them as well. I dare
say more.
I want to say more. Would that put me in hot water if I say I love them more than he does? Or are you saying that I love them more than I love Adam? Because both are true.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to get you in hot water. I think that you're speaking from the heart.
That's right. Thank you, Gary. Anyway, GoToMeeting from Citrix. It's the holidays. You don't want to have to drag your buns into the office. Maybe you've been drinking eggnog. Maybe you're making Christmas cookies. Maybe you're trimming a tree and you have tinsel all over yourself and you don't have time to de-tinsel and get into the office. Or maybe you're making a snow angel and you live in a snowy clime. Anyway, you have to have meetings because that's what business is based on, but you don't want to have to go into wherever. You want to just be able to meet face-to-face from wherever you are, and that is what GoToMeeting does for you. You can meet on the computer. You can do it on an iPad. You can actually host a meeting from your iPad. You see each other, HD, crystal clear. You hear each other. You can collaborate on documents. You can give other people control of your screen. It's just great. It really makes you think, why the hell did I ever go into the office in the old days? Because I can just meet this way. It's simple. It's the future. And it works. And it doesn't break. Gary, do you need to agree?
Yes, I do. I'm very sorry. GoToMeeting is just so easy to use. The iPad feature is really cool. I had to do a meeting with you recently.
You got to.
Yes, got to. Well, I was told that I had to because I was a bit phlegmy at the time, which we have since
You were. I was
we have
calling you
since
Typhoid
learned.
Gary.
Yes, we have since learned that is a big problem for you. I was not so aware, but
Yeah. You know what? I later worried I was going to come down with what I referred to as the Gary.
that's.
I'm sure
what a
you want to
fear.
hear that. Yeah.
What a fear.
Well, it was going around, but to me, you're the one who gave it to everyone. So I didn't want to get close to you. I wanted to just meet over the computer.
I'm the index patient.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we got to do a meeting as a result of my ailment, and I started up from the iPad just because that was a new feature, and I wanted to see how it worked. And it's so slick. I mean, you can still share your screen, you can share PDFs or images and stuff, and it's very intuitive. So it really, for a business user, it very well could replace your laptop and become a way to just travel with your iPad. And like we've said before, I know we're beating this horse, but it's built for business, and the thing does not break down.
Yeah.
It's a workhorse. Every time we've tried to use it, it's worked flawlessly.
And afterwards, when you go back to just emailing people, you feel lonely if you're kind of lame, such as me. Anyway, try GoToMeeting free for 30 days. Don't wait for this special offer. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click on the Try It Free button, and use the promo code Allison. Be sure to use the promo code Allison. GoToMeeting. Meeting is believing. Allison, because I'm Allison. I'm sure that's obvious, but I just want to drive that point home in case you're like, who is this angelic voice that I'm listening to? It's me, Allison. And as I've said before, that these companies, when there's a promo code, not only does it get you a special deal, but they will look to see who arrived there from that specific code, and so it helps the show. And you want to do that, right? Maybe. Do you? Okay. So Eli Braden is the guest on this episode. He's hilarious, and he's open, and he's honest, and he's all those things that we want. And this is a special 2-part episode. Here's part 1. Please love it. And please enjoy it. Enjoy it and love it. And don't forget to get the special Podfest episode for $1.99 in the iTunes store. It's there now. You should go get it, because if you had any idea what Gary and I'm like the person who's like, I was in labor with you for 36 hours. Gary and I have been in labor with this Podfest.
It has
for
affected
30 almost has it been more than a month? Almost a month. Yeah. Okay. Halloween is when we uploaded this mofo.
It has affected everyone in the Corolla digital world, because I've been so pissed off at certain days that I just stomp around here like an asshole, not talking to anybody.
Right.
It has been an odyssey.
Do it for Gary. Yeah. Oh, my God. It's been awful. It's been an awful see.
Yes.
So go get that and enjoy it. Again with the snap. This has been a really long bit of talking before the show. You're welcome, you guys. I love you. Here's the episode.
Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison Rosen, Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, it's me, Alison Rosen, and welcome to another episode of Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. My guest today is Eli Braden, comedian, musician, writer, guy who's hilarious, sex god, guy who's hilarious on Twitter.
Oh,
That's actually, I think, we were just talking before the show started that we have some friends in common, and maybe that's what made me aware of you, but really I became sort of a fan, I guess is the word, just from Twitter. In fact, today I was thinking perhaps my favorite tweet of yours is, shall I compare thee to a summer's eve, Shakespeare calling someone a douche.
Oh, wow, thank you. Wow.
I love that.
Word for word, look at you.
I know.
Man.
Do you have a favorite tweet of yours?
It's at Alison Rosen. Do you have a boyfriend?
I like that one as well.
I'm going to send that one later tonight.
Okay.
I haven't sent it yet.
Wow, it was like foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I do.
I know.
But that doesn't really. But I mean, do you
Doesn't count.
At Eli Braden, do you have a wife and kids?
At Alison Rosen, I have kids. I'm getting divorced.
Yes.
Let's take this to DM.
Okay. I'm not following you though.
Oh.
I mean, I am actually. So wait, you really are?
I really am, yeah.
Wow, that was a quirky way to get into that.
Well, tragedy plus a tiny bit of time equals comedy. So.
Right. Yeah, what's going on?
Well, we're getting divorced, but we're staying together for now for financial reasons, as far as like, reapplying for refinancing a house. So if Wells Fargo Bank's listening.
Oh, they are huge fans of my podcast.
Well, we are still married.
All the
so.
banks, all the banks, all the finance companies, a few loan sharks probably.
Yeah,
credit unions, any sort of institution.
They listen collectively.
Yeah.
No, we're getting divorced, but we are for all practical purposes separated. So, ladies, here I am. Rock me like a herd.
How long had you been married?
About 9 years. Yeah, and we have 2 lovely kids.
How old are your kids?
5 and 4.
Girls,
Everybody says
boys?
their kids are lovely. I have a 5-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy.
You know what everyone says? I was just thinking about this recently too. I was thinking that you hear a lot of people being like, "Oh man, he's such a cool kid." If it's a son.
Yeah.
People describe their kids as cool. Like, there's no one else in the world. It's just such a cool little person. There's no one else in the world I'd rather spend time with. It's weird. All I want to do is spend time with them. Just cool little kid.
I don't buy that.
You don't think your kids are cool?
No, I don't buy that there's no one else in the world you'd rather spend time with than your
Right.
kids. I mean, I love spending time with my kids, but up to a certain point. Let's get real,
Right. And what is that point when they're just being all immature and
Yeah, I mean,
asking questions and-
it's just at a certain point you need some adult interaction, and
You're suggesting your children are not human because that's where that's going.
that was a Freudian slip. Yes, my children are not human.
I'm sorry. And you said son, daughter?
Yeah, 5-year-old girl, 4-year-old boy. The good thing is, I could still have more kids in my future. Ex-wifey, I think it's all done for her.
Well,
So,
at least you guys are on great terms, clearly. I'm definitely not picking up any weirdness.
Yeah, I'm holding that over her head. I can still have kids.
But do you guys still live? You live together currently?
It's all good. I'm being facetious.
I know.
It's mutual, amicable, and the right thing to do.
That's great because usually, often divorces are sort of like War of the Roses, I think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think at first it seemed like it was going to be a hippie dream, and then it was a little rougher than I maybe anticipated for me emotionally to handle some stuff. But I think we're getting through it. I think it's going to be all good. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's all about the kids for us at this point because we share these kids together, and we want to make sure that it's cool for them. I used to really strongly believe that parents should stay together for the kids, and like I actually had a big argument with a friend of mine whose parents had gotten divorced, and I was like, I just think once you have kids, you should stay together, even if you're messing around outside the marriage. You guys, it's. And he was like, I gotta disagree with you, man. And my parents got divorced. It was great.
How old was he when they got divorced?
Probably about 9 or 10, I'm thinking. And he said, yeah, they got divorced. They were much happier then. They were both great parents. They remain to this day good friends. It was all good. And I was like, well, you're wrong. So now I have to prove myself. Moving forward, I have to prove myself wrong, I guess, in that argument.
Well, how are your kids handling it so far?
They don't even know. They really don't even know.
So they're probably handling it
They're handling
great.
it great, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to wait until they reach high school to tell them.
Are your parents together?
My parents stayed together. Yeah, they're still together. My wife's parents stayed together too. So I think we both kind of had that as our model. You know, of like that's what you should do. My parents got together when they were like 18, though. I mean, I was a mistake, and somehow they were like
a miracle.
A miracle. Yeah, I was a miracle.
Ill-timed miracle.
An ill-timed miracle that that led to them dropping everything they were doing as teenagers and starting a family.
Do they resent you for that, do you think?
I think they should, but they never gave me an idea that they did. So
good. And do they get along well? Because my parents are together, and I think that's obviously for them it's right, but they fought a lot when I was growing up.
Yeah, my family, it was the same deal. Like in fact, that's the weird thing is that my even though I feel like there was a certain stability in me that my parents stayed together. The threat of them getting divorced was like my biggest fear, and they fought a lot. Now they get along great. It's weird. I mean, like they've made it through.
No, it was your fault.
Yeah, it was. They had 2 more kids though, so they can't blame everything on me. But
yeah. So now they get along. Yeah,
they get
mine
along great
too.
now. It's crazy.
Do you have any ideas why that is?
I think one of them surrendered to the other one eventually and just said, "Okay, you win."
Oh, wow. It was a capitulation.
Not mentioning any names, Dad.
I think with my parents, my dad mellowed out
That's what it is.
You know, I think as they both got older, and then now they're sort of health. I think once the health stuff started happening, which just happens when you get older, that's
Scary.
when and I think that's when I really realized, there is an immense amount of tenderness between them.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Like for my dad turned 50 for like 3 years in a row in terms of having a midlife crisis, and I think he didn't really do the thing where he said he was 50 3 years in a row, but
it was 49. 3 years in a row.
Right. No, he admitted it, but he just went through something insane and was really hard to be around for years. And that's I think when the most.
And how old were
yelling
you when that
happened.
happened?
I was about 10. I guess. Is that right? Yeah.
So they started kind of later in life.
My mom is young and my dad is old. My mom is 12.
Oh,
my dad
wow.
is
Still.
85.
She's 12.
No. Yeah, no. They're 16 years apart.
Wow.
So and my dad is like 79. So, yeah. So my dad had been married before, though. And so he has 2 kids from that marriage, my brothers.
You get along with them?
I do. Yeah, they're 11. They're twins. They're 11 years older than I am. And I feel like I don't know them as well as I know my younger sister, who is like I would say we're inseparable, except that she lives in New York. And,
Well, she's not here now, so obviously she's not.
right. She's yeah. Unless she was invisible but stuck to me, because that'd be weird. Inseparable. Yeah. So and you have 2 younger siblings.
I do. Yeah.
Brothers, sisters.
2 younger sisters. Yeah.
Do you get along with them?
Yeah, we get along good. I grew up in a really small town, Midwest, Southern Illinois. When you say Illinois, people think Chicago. Oh, Chicago. No. Southern Illinois is more like it's basically adjacent to like Indiana and Kentucky. That's what it is. It's those people.
What's the name of the town?
We actually moved around to several different towns. One called Salem, one called Highland. I was born in a town called Belleville, which is basically a far suburb of St. Louis. I don't know why we moved so much. I think my dad just, they were very young, and my dad would just travel from town to town with like, oh, this job pays a little better, let's move.
Did he have a vocation, or was it just
he was in the
journeyman?
paper industry, which
Okay.
was kind of big in that area at
like
the time.
Paper or newspaper?
Paper mills, like literally trees turning into paper, which he's actually still in that industry. But yeah, he would move around from town to town, and I literally never lived any town for more than 2 years. For the entire time I grew up, until even in high school, we even moved halfway through high school. And I think that gave me like this thing where I'm really adaptable, but I also don't really value relationships. And I think that I honestly think, as I'm examining my life at this point, like that's partially, to some degree, why I failed in a marriage, was because I feel like I've never really valued close relationships, and I think having kids helped with that a lot.
Do you think it's because I was going to say, instead of me telling you why it is, why don't I just ask you, why do you think that is? But no, I'll tell you why.
You tell me, and then I'll just say
might
yes,
be.
whatever you say.
Is it because it would be too painful to value the close friend relationships because they're just going to be taken away from you?
Maybe painful, but also
or
just
futility.
Futility. It was just like I was so used to, anytime I'd make friends, I would have to move, and then it was weird. Like my first 2 years of high school, I was a total nerd. I was just a loser.
Get out.
Total loser. And then I moved to the next town for my junior and senior year, and I was a superstar there. Like I was on homecoming court and all this stuff. So I had this weird.
See, that just makes me feel like I
background.
should have changed high schools.
What, do I? Well,
because I was not popular, but perhaps at some other high school in some alternate universe or the next town over.
I don't know.
I don't have it in me.
I'm just kidding.
For you, what was it? Was it just chance, or did you become a tougher kid?
I think I became a better person. I lost a lot of weight over that summer, which I've gained it all back. Oops. Working on it now, though. Everybody post-divorce. A lot of time in the gym, I've found. That's the thing that happens. If you want to lose weight, get divorced. But I don't know.
Do you have to get married first?
You do.
Okay.
You do.
The divorce diet is not going to work for me, though. I mean, being single at this time. Anyway, go ahead.
But you do have a boyfriend.
I do.
Oh, rats.
You have to bite your fist now.
No, but yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I just found the high school I moved to, like everybody just loved me there for some reason. And
did it make you happier? The inner nerd in me is asking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It feels good to be loved.
Yeah, it really does, right?
Well,
Even
that's
though
why
you
we're
wanna
all in this
tell
industry.
yourself,
I mean,
know.
I think anybody you meet in the entertainment industry, it really comes down to like you're looking for some kind of approval or outside love and validation.
Yeah, someone who was on this show recently said to me, why are you looking for the valid? Because we were talking about how all of us are craving that if we're performing. She's like, well, why are you looking for it? I'm like, there's not any one thing I can point to.
Yeah.
But why do you? I mean, for you, what broke you?
I think it was part of like I valued more like I had a thing like I want to be famous and loved by everybody rather than like having a real close friendship. Like people, it's not that people are not important or people aren't valuable. It's just that it's more important that I please everybody. Quantity over quality, and that's why I immediately like got into music, and I basically was pursuing music straight out of high school. Right as soon as I got out of high school, I moved to California. Started a band, got record deals, and kind of kept doing this trajectory for quite a while.
What were you playing in the bands, and what bands were you in?
I was in no bands that you've ever heard of, but
Are you sure? Because I used to write about music.
Well, I had a band called The Beggars, which you would never have heard of. This was like the mid '90s, and we had a record deal, and we like a major record deal and everything. We had an album out, but it didn't really go anywhere. On Island Records, which was a big deal at the time.
Yeah, Island Def Jam, right?
Yeah.
Rubin. Yeah,
I think I don't think Rick Rubin and Def Jam was involved yet. This was more when it was like U2's label, and the guy who had started it basically to release Bob Marley's records, hence the name Island.
Gotcha.
But it was a big deal, and that I pursued that for a long time and to varying levels of success, but I never really got to that place where I was rich and famous that I wanted to be.
Did you tour?
A little bit, yeah. And then I had started another band, and then we had a level of success too, but never really got there. And at a certain point, that band was called Fuse, and this is all in San Francisco.
Okay.
And at a certain point, this is maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I was just like, you know what? There's not a lot going on in the Bay Area. I think I need to go to LA and start trying to do some things that are maybe not so much like, hey, I'm going to be a rock star, but more like, I'm really talented. I could write songs for other people. I could, there's a million things you can do in LA connected to music. And that's kind of what I did for a while. And I still do that. Like I just sang a song for Ellen last week. They had the Dancing with the Stars cast-offs on, and they couldn't clear, they did a song from the Hairspray musical. And they couldn't clear the original recording because there's like 1,000 people singing on it. So they were like, why don't you just come in and re-sing it? I mean, I do things like that, like freelance stuff. Because I'm a musically talented guy. But I, at a certain point, like just a few years ago, I started just doing comedy kind of as a lark. And all of a sudden I was like, this is really great.
So before the like Fuse and Beggars was not humorous,
right?
No.
That was straight
up
like rock, just basic rock. I mean, this last band, Fuse in particular, we were very much like early Radiohead, kind of like Muse, that kind of sound, like a little bit vaguely British influenced rock, But,
I know exactly what you mean.
Nothing special enough to really break through. I mean, I think we had some good stuff, but it was not like, it wasn't there, like it wasn't a huge, I mean, I'm great, but
they were holding you back. Maybe
I could not find the same caliber of people. Maybe.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's why you had to go solo.
I had to go
and then
solo,
turn funny.
Yeah, and get funny. And I just found I did like a couple things as a lark in the comedy music vein, and I just found it. I'd always been a huge comedy nerd, especially like going back to Mr. Show was kind of my moment of zen for comedy. I was like, I'd always loved comedy, always a fan, but Mr. Show was just the funniest thing in the world to me. I just couldn't believe that there was something that funny being made. And then I discovered Tenacious D too, which was sort of in the Mr. Show universe. And that was kind of what gave me an idea, like, oh wow, like they're really good musicians and the songs are really good, but it's also hilarious. And it doesn't have to be like, so much comedy music is just idiotic, and even if it's funny, it's like one joke stretched over a 4-minute song, It's like, we don't need this. And I mean, then you got Weird Al. He's like kind of the master of parodies.
Was he someone that you were a fan of?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like Weird Al. I mean, it's a little clean for my taste, of course. But
I saw on your website that what did he say about you? Something positive.
Weird Al. I put a quote up that Weird Al had DM'd me once. He's a really sweet guy, by the way. He was like, "You're one of the funniest people on Twitter," and I was like, "I think I will just take this and put it on my website." I think I DM'd you the same thing one time. Did you?
I think I just wanted you to know I think you're really funny or something.
What did I write back?
Thanks.
Probably.
I think you said thanks.
Do you have a boyfriend? Did I ask you if you had a?
No, I didn't. I didn't get any sort of. Yeah, as you still are now.
That's true. That's true.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about. I just said but it came out yo.
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 I like that. We should start that. Just Y apostrophe
right.
O.
Okay.
Yo.
Yo. Let's talk about this. Except I want to get back to the music and the comedy, but let's talk about the fact that you're currently technically married.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you dating?
I'm not, because I'm not having time. I mean, I'd be open to it. I just don't have time to technically date.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm just wondering how that would go, because I think that there are probably women who'd be like, wait a minute, but you're still living with your wife, or,
Yeah, that's why I'm not really too worried. I have a game plan as far as moving out and everything, and I mean, if they want me that bad, they can let me stay at their house.
That's right.
Hey, baby, can I move in with you?
Mm-hmm.
We'll start the whole thing over again.
Yeah. Look out, ladies.
Look out.
Because I remember there was this guy who took an interest in me. Now, I was not interested in him, but I don't know if I knew that I wasn't yet. I think I did. But anyway, we sort of became friends, and he explained that he lived with his wife, but it's totally cool with her, so I don't have to ever worry.
See, I don't
have to ever worry if I call the house. I don't have to feel weird.
That
and I was
sounds
like,
really
I already
suspicious.
feel really weird.
That's
yeah.
suspicious.
They had a kid together, and what I never could really ascertain was whether they were just friends but living together for the kid and because they got along well, or whether they were actually still hooking up. I think he said they weren't. The whole thing just seemed weird.
Yeah.
I didn't want a part of that.
Yeah, that's a really nebulous thing, and I want to minimize this transition period as much as I can. That's why I'm not out there hey, come on back to. Besides, I live way out in Pasadena anyway, so I got to get me a Hollywood bachelor pad. I got to set it up, I got to get the lava lamps, the mood lighting, the smoke machines, the beanbag chairs,
bead curtains, just because they sound so great.
The condom dispenser on the wall.
Oh, blacklight posters.
Blacklight posters of
those,
black people doing zodiac sex.
Do they have those?
Yeah, it's like every position. Have you ever seen those?
No.
It's like this super sexy animated black couple.
Wow.
Every zodiac sign, doing some kind of sex act that interprets it. Maybe I fantasized about this, and this isn't real. I think it's true.
This exists.
It's like a 70s thing.
Yeah. Somehow I missed that, but I'm gonna have to check that out. So you said that emotionally it's been a bit harder than you expected. Can you go into that a bit?
Oh.
Because that's what I hear from about. I mean, that's kind of how divorce it usually is for people, I think. But having never been married myself, I only can guess at what it must be like.
I think you reach a point where you both know that the marriage is not working. Mm-hmm. And even once you've accepted that and acknowledged that and made a decision, you still have moments where you're like, well, maybe we should rethink this,
Is it because it's the thing that gets to me is the idea of, oh God, having to admit, and I'm sorry, I hope I'm not bumming you out, but the death of the dream, remembering that at one point I thought this was the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and oh wow, I was wrong or something. You know?
It's very much it makes me very much like when I see other people getting married or getting engaged. I'm like, you're going to go through the same shit. And the truth is they probably will. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even being cynical. It's just that's the way life works.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's not worth doing. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I mean, it's like people I'm not going to have kids because it's just bring another fucking kid in this world. It's like, well, yeah, but that's just kind of what we do. We're wired for it. We're programmed to do it. And, that's the whole life experience. And, if what are you going to be in your deathbed? You're going to be like, I didn't bring any kids into this world. I didn't get married. I didn't do any of that shit. It's like, would you be proud of yourself?
So my life is so clean.
Yeah, it's so clean.
So seamless. Such a seamless transition into death.
I'm just like, yeah, leave a big mess behind.
See, I think that my dad felt very much. I mean, he was pretty crushed by his divorce. I didn't know
his
him
first
yet.
divorce.
Yeah, he
wow.
has one divorce under his belt.
Right.
Yeah, and I didn't know him yet because I wasn't born. But
right.
My understanding of it is that it was really, really hard on him, and he wanted to stay together for the kids, and he just felt terrible. And I think really felt like, in some way, that he was a failure. And that I'm not sure I understand.
I can relate to that, too.
What is
and
that?
I think that's a dude thing, maybe, and I think it's just, because for me, it really is a lot about the kids. Like, oh, man, I really wanted to be able to have the kids be on graduation day and be like, oh, there's mom and dad up together, and they're together, and not be like, oh, there's dad and his super sexy 22-year-old wife, and then mom with that idiot, which is what it's going to be.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's you feel like a failure. It's more about my kids than like, I want it, let's give it another shot. It is. It's just knowing the kids will have that experience. But they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They live in California.
It sounds like you guys both love them. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So much.
Did you guys try counseling?
We did.
How was that?
Pretty useless. I mean, I had my ex-wife. I'll call her my ex-wife. Even though she's not. She had been trying to get us to go to counseling for a long time, and she's like a psych major, and I'm much more like that entire branch of shit is useless, which I don't think is. I'm not as hard and fast about that anymore. I think it can be very helpful, but I also think like so many people get into it and there's no end game.
Yeah.
It's like when is you're just in therapy your whole life, finding out more things about yourself. Paying a lot of money to somebody to listen to you talk. I mean, I don't know. That I sort of, for me as an artist, if I maybe use that pretentious term, I find that's more my outlet for.
Right. Yeah. I think for some people, just talking to someone helps.
Yeah.
Just having a place to put it.
You can't discount that. I don't discount that anymore. I used to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I used to be with Tom Cruise. I used to be with Team Cruise on that.
Okay, so let's talk more about the comedy and the music. So you realized San Francisco was over.
San Francisco was over.
Did you know Matt Nathanson? Do you know him?
I know the name.
Okay.
Yeah. He's kind of blowing up now, right?
Yeah, he's been blowing up for a while, actually.
Yeah.
I went to college. I went to Pomona. He went to Pitzer. Greg Heller, our mutual friend, also went to Pitzer and knew him. But yeah, I've known him since then. But yeah, he's sort of a bigger deal now.
Yeah.
And I believe Taylor Swift evidently stole one of his lyrics or something.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it was trending on Twitter.
That little bitch.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, San Francisco was over. You came down here. And
I'd always loved L.A. I mean, there's a huge thing in San Francisco, like anti-L.A. Like everybody there is like, L.A. sucks. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, whenever I came here, I was like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of cool people here. And they're like, there's so many douchebags. There's so many douchebags everywhere. I mean, at least in L.A., you can spot the douchebags.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most clearly labeled douchebag population here of anywhere. I mean, you can see them coming from a mile away. There's no mistaking. That's a Hollywood douchebag.
Right.
And I mean, you don't have to associate with those people. I mean,
what do you think are the biggest douchebag tells?
To use like whatever the modern equivalent of what the Ed Hardy shirt was 2 years ago, the certain haircuts, the super expensive looking jeans,
right?
The making a show of yourself, talking really loud,
Gary, do you know what the modern or the current version of the Ed Hardy shirt is?
You mean like the equivalent?
Yeah. Or is it still an Ed Hardy? I feel like maybe it's still Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy's still great. Affliction never really hurts.
Tap
out. To a lesser extent, Fox Racing gets a little bad out in like the Inland Empire. But I think Affliction and Tap Out are kind of the go-tos now.
I need to pay more attention to men's horrible shirts.
No, you don't.
Okay.
You absolutely don't. I agree.
Do they all look like loud and like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they're kind of like influenced by tattoo. It's like hey, I'm gonna wear a shirt that looks like I have tattoos.
Yeah. I think that all of that I've just assumed was Ed Hardy.
Yeah, and to an extent it is. For all practical purposes, it is.
Right. Okay. All right. So you came down here. You realized you could avoid the douchebags.
Yeah, and I had a lot of friends. I'd met a lot of people down here that were really cool. Like, I kind of got plugged into this network of really randomly through mutual friends, just like really cool people when I first moved here.
Do I know who these people are?
Well, one guy in particular is this dude named Zach Selwyn.
I know the name.
And he's an actor and comedian, and he does a lot of hosting, and he's just a great guy. And he's actually the guy I was talking to you about earlier, where his parents had gotten divorced. He's a Jewish guy who grew up in Arizona, basically like on a commune. He's like he's just got this crazy background. But
Was it like a cult?
No, it wasn't. It was kind of just like a bunch of Jewish hippies living in Arizona, and they were like, and I think for a few years they were like, let's all live together. And it really worked. They're all still friends. Like all these families are friends. And he's just a great guy and really kind of welcomed me in and introduced me to a lot of cool people. And actually, the first couple comedy music things I ever did was like with his encouragement, because he's a musician himself, and he's like, let's do some comedy stuff. And we did. I think the first thing we did was this thing called TSA Gangsters, which was like this was kind of about when the TSA was the big story about how they were confiscating everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, let's do a gangster rap song where we're these badass TSA agents who were just totally blatant assholes and just taking shit and feeling
That's like
girls
how
up.
They are.
Yeah.
Sort of.
And so we did the song, and the video was really funny. It was like belt buckle money clip. I can't even remember how it goes now, but it was a huge like viral hit when we did it. And it was very funny. And we did a few other things together. We did one called My Kid, which was like it was a parody of Mickey Avalon's My Dick. And it was right after the two of us had first had our first kid, and it was just about how our kid has a huge dick, how he's just so much better than your kid. And we made videos, and I was like, this is really fun. This is kind of what I want to do if there's a way to make money doing this.
Right.
And, there's really not that much of a way to make money doing that. So I also started writing and, pursuing like doing TV writing and stuff. And that's kind of what I'm getting into now.
And now you do songs for Howard Stern.
I do, yeah.
Is that a paid thing?
That is not technically a paid thing, although I do. That's getting exposure on that show is so huge, and I'm such a fan of the Stern Show, and I have been for years. I just started sending in. I actually just sent in a song. I had an idea, recorded it, parody song, and they played it the next day. And I was like, "Wow, that's cool! I'm going to do that again."
Did they tell you they were going to?
No, they just do it. They just play it, and all of a sudden, getting all these. Text messages, dude, Howard Stern's talking about you.
That's so cool.
And and so I kind of got in the mix doing that. Now I do like one weekend a month. They do this thing called the Ronnie Munn Block Party, and it's like they do two towns, Pittsburgh and Philly, or like next month we're doing like Orlando and Fort Lauderdale, where we just go and do these crazy comedy shows. And that's a lot of fun. And
who's the we that does that?
A bunch of the people from the show, mostly, and me.
That's cool. So you're like part of the family.
I'm part of the clan, yeah, kind of.
Do they get in touch and say, can you do a parody of this?
They do, yeah. They kind of commission it, which is cool. And
That's
I
cool.
always do that whenever I have time to do it.
Yeah. How long does it take you to do a song?
It's pretty quick. Sometimes there'll be a little bit one with a stumbling block, but I can really crank. Like the other day, they wanted me to do one. I got an email to Billy Joel's a song of Miami 2017, and they wrote me, they're like, "Hey, can you do a parody of Miami 2017 with these lyrics?" And I had never even heard the song, so I just like put it on Spotify, listened to it like 10 times, get it in my head, got a karaoke track off iTunes, sang it. It took about a half an hour, and then they played it the next day, and it was like a huge hit, and everybody was writing me on Facebook. They're like, "That's the funniest thing you've done." And I was like, "Well, I didn't even write that one, but thanks." But no, it's cool. It's cool to be part. And I've been on the show once in the studio, and I'm going to go in again in December. I'm going to go in and do some Christmas songs on there, I think. So.
What's he like? When you go in, are you near him, or is he in a different...
surprisingly close, yeah. About as close as I am to you right now. And he's super cool. I mean, he was super cool. It was so cool. I mean, I don't know. I think for Stern, people who are Stern fans, it's just... He's just like a god. It's just, he's like the only person in the world, I feel. I mean, I think it's so intimate because you spend so much time listening to him, and he's so honest and open about all of his failings and foibles and weaknesses. And it's intense, the relationship I think you develop with him if you're a fan. And it's just like, the first thing I come in, he's like, how fucking fat are you? What do you lose some weight? What's wrong with you?
That was on the air?
That was the first thing he said to me when I walked in the door, like on the air. And I was just like, anybody else would say that. I'd be like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is so awesome. I got Howard Stern asking me why am I so fat? That's just the first thing he goes to. It was great. It was like the best day of my life,
Oh, that's so cool. Why do you think that felt so good? Is it just the proximity or the acknowledgement?
Just
he knows who you are.
What was really cool was because I did a couple songs live, and watching him crack up and lose his shit right in front of me, like watching him, like cracking him up right in front of my eyes was the thing. Because it's just, I don't know why, he's just got that thing. He's just an amazing dude.
Good.
No, I'm totally gay for him. It's Stern and Obama are like my two guys that I just think are the greatest dudes.
Well, today's a good day then.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
For people who don't know, today's the day after the election.
Right.
So, hooray.
Yeah, hooray.
Although, I was actually, this came up on the Adam Carolla show, I cared more about everything 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Maybe because going into it, I knew Obama was going to win. I mean, the idea, and I'm sorry for people who don't share my political beliefs, but the idea of Romney winning did chill me to the bone. Like,
really?
Well, okay, two things. I don't know what the second is, but
You'll wing it.
I'll find it as I go. I don't know that the world would have been that different had Romney won. I'm not sure things would have changed that much, but the fear that they could have, and that the thing like women's rights and repealing civil liberties and just things, civil rights, and I mean the idea of the country skewing really far right.
Yeah, which is basically
frightens
backwards
me.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. So that is what scared me about that. I still am unclear where Romney is. I can't tell whether he's truly in his heart more moderate or not. I didn't get a sense of that. But
I think I think it's pretty clear at his heart he is more moderate, but it's also like that doesn't necessarily mean that once he's in office that he's going to govern that way, because he's going to do what he needs to do because he's a total political animal, My thing with Romney was, it's really easy to vilify him, but kind of what disturbed me from a lot of people on the left, people that I agree with on a lot of things, but they were really vilifying him as a person. And I never got the vibe that he was like a bad person the way I did with like Cheney or Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
It's like he comes off to me like he's a rich guy and he's kind of out of touch, very out of touch, but he seems like a good person. And it's like,
right. A lot of people don't have story. People don't necessarily have stories of him doing horrendous things.
Well, they do have the things about the dog.
That's about it.
And the beating, and like the guy with the haircut when he cut the guy's hair, but when he was in high school.
Yeah.
But that stuff seems so remote and anecdotal, and like everybody.
It's
does
not Cheney-esque.
Yeah.
You're right.
He just seems like a good guy. He seems like a good father and everything. And I don't know. I just didn't want him to win. And I just really am amazed with Obama because, he's a black dude. He's got that name. He came from nothing, and he triumphed over all that. This guy does not get a pass. This guy cannot even flirt with the idea of anything that might be scandalous. He has to be perfect.
Yeah,
and he has been perfect. And in his personal behavior, as a person, as a man, I think he's. Yes,
we haven't heard of any sex scandals.
There's
or anything
nothing.
like that.
I think he's just a special guy, and I think it's like he's kind of like magic almost. And even if you don't agree with him on everything, it's like he's almost like the Beatles of politics.
Like magical or Magic, the sports guy.
Like magic.
Hold on.
Magician.
You have to get the full name if you're going to try to make that joke.
Magic Johnson.
Okay.
It wasn't even it was only semi a joke.
No, I thought the exact same thing.
Okay, good.
I liked it, but I thought you were trying.
Irvin.
See,
It's more than
yeah,
but that's more than you probably thought I knew.
Oh, way more.
Are you into sports, Eli?
Not really.
Then nor am I. Someone here is. Gary is. My boyfriend is.
Is he?
Yeah.
Why don't you come hang out with me and drop that guy while he watches football all day?
I feel like that would actually work for all parties involved because we live together now, and so he hasn't been Saturdays. What he really wants to do is watch football or perhaps play video games while listening to football or something. I can't,
oh my God!
I can't tell if I can't tell the relationship between the video games and the sports, except that they are both things that I think he would like to do. but he feels that it's not fair to me to do them, even though
Right.
I've said, like, I don't mind. I
Right.
really don't. I really don't have a problem with that because it's not like
Does he want to do that on Saturday and Sunday, or does he have? Because Saturday's college football day,
college
Sunday's
football.
NFL.
He's more
So-
into college football.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think that if I were to be like, you know what, I'm at Eli's on Saturday,
Yeah.
even though he'd feel weird about it, he'd be like, well, at least I can do these things, you know?
But then if you were at my place, though, my wife would be there too, so that would be weird.
Well, what
too.
does she like to watch?
Real Housewives.
Okay. You know what I'm watching now? It's a thing that everyone else watched a long time ago, Sopranos.
Oh, really? You're just
yeah,
getting? Oh, wow,
I'm
it's the
just
best.
getting into it, and I'm so happy to have found a new thing to spend all my time watching.
Yeah.
Because I also just caught up on Breaking Bad, but now that I'm all caught up, I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with my eyeballs?
Right. Sopranos is.
They need to be trained
so
on
good.
something. I know
So
it
good.
really is. I don't know why I didn't watch it originally. I somehow it was like that thing where I kind of missed the boat with it, and then it was just too
Once
hard
it's gone,
to
yeah,
catch up.
And it's a lot easier now with shows to catch up. Like it's with
Right.
the Netflix era and everything. It's like it's just, shows become much more like movies. I'll just watch that whole season in a weekend.
I like watching it that way.
Yeah, me too.
I was going to ask you, what do you think of Robin? Because she's kind of the parallel me on the Adam Carolla show.
Yeah. Well, her boobs are much bigger than yours.
Yeah. I know that we don't look the same.
You don't look the same.
We
No,
probably have a different
I think
vibe.
she's amazing. I mean, I think she's the perfect foil for him. And, a lot of people, I mean, if you want to look at it from a crass point of view, like a lot of people say, oh, yeah, he brought in a black woman so he can say stuff about black people and women and she can laugh and
interesting.
it can make it okay. I think early on, that was when he was much more controversial and he said much more raunchy stuff.
Yeah.
That was more the case.
Do you think there's any truth to that?
I think to an extent. I mean, in the early days, it did help him a lot. But at the same time, I think they're kind of kindred spirits. And I think she's amazingly talented and, very brilliant in her own right. And it's just great that they found each other. I could do a whole podcast on how great the Howard Stern show is. I really could. But
Is there anyone there you don't? You're probably not going to answer that.
that I don't like?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's people on the show that are like show regulars who like, there's a guy, Scott DePace, who is like the token conservative. He's one of the engineer guys, but they around elections, they'll have him on all the time because he's the one that they can say, what do you think? And then they can just shit all over everything he says. He's like, it's like the guy you love to hate.
Right. Kind
the
of
show.
like like the conservative or Republican person on Bill Maher.
Exactly.
But probably with, although
Bill Maher always has conservatives on who are kind of in on the joke. They're willing to. They're kind of willing. It's kind of like that when they had that Hannity and Combs, like that Combs guy on.
Yes.
Like he was such
I was
a little
on that show
wimp.
once.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, I was. Because I used to do Red Eye. Do you know Red Eye?
I do. I've been on it before. I'm
you
actually
have?
doing it again in December. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Tell
love
them I
that
say
show.
hi. Yeah, I used to do that a lot when I lived in New York. And then, it's Fox and, well, I guess any news place is small enough that, like, if you do well on one show, then other producers are like, oh, why don't you come on our show?
that's
come on our
cool.
show, come on our
Yeah.
show. So, yeah, I did Hannity and Combs. I'm trying to it was right when Alec Baldwin, that voicemail had come out
Oh,
where
yeah.
he had
You
called.
pig.
Yes. So I think we were talking about that. Yeah, they would bring me on to talk about, like, entertainment stories,
Yeah.
but they always make everything political. But, yeah, I always felt bad for Combs because
Yeah.
it's like, you are... Like, it's like Hannity's 80% of this, and you're 20%.
Yeah, you're
and
just
I
there
don't
to
even
shit
know
on.
what I'm referring.
He's
Yes,
the toilet
exactly.
of the show. He's just.
Yeah.
And he's a weird looking dude.
Yes.
You know.
But he's got this trophy wife.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
what
mean,
you get when
I
you-
think she's older, but I just remember watching. I saw them walking around the village, and he looks like nipped and tucked within an inch of his life. He had on sunglasses, and he was with this like leggy, tall blonde.
Wow, good for Combs.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Combs.
Yeah. What is he doing now? I wonder.
I think he has like a radio show or something. Okay. He did something. He's
for
doing
him.
fine.
I'm sure he's great. Yeah. Okay, so you're doing songs for Howard Stern.
Yeah.
And then you also were or are working for Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, yeah, I applied. They asked me to submit. They had a writing position opening up. They asked me to submit. I did a packet that I think was pretty great. They thought it was pretty great too. They had me in for, I was one of the finalists. I didn't get the job, but they kept telling me, they said, we're going to try to work something out. So
Who
just
did get
sit
it?
tight.
Do
I
you
don't
know?
know who got it. I don't know who got it. I don't know which person in particular got it. But they said, we're going to try to work something out. And what ended up happening was they were like, we're going to bring you in for, they said, we're going to bring you in for a trial period to write the integrations on the show. The integrations are like the 60 to 90 second comedy. They're comedy sketches essentially, but they're ads. They're basically ads. It's like product placement. We're going to bring you in to write these. And if things go well, you know, we'll see what happens. I was kind of under the impression that, like, I was so arrogant. I was like, I'm going to kill this. They're going to hire me right away. So I started working there, and I think it was going pretty good. Then all of a sudden one day they're like, okay, the trial period's over. Thanks. You're great. And I was like, wait a minute. I thought this in my head, this ends with you offering me the job. I sort of found out from what I can deduce that they really had no intention of hiring me at the time, but I was sort of filling in for somebody who was on maternity leave or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But
I hate when they don't tell you that.
Yeah.
Unless I know
I found
people
that's
who didn't
very
tell you,
common.
in which case, hi.
No, but they were great there. And, you know, they've kind of let me know, like, hey, at some point we might be able to bring you back in. You know, I just don't think, I think essentially they're not hiring right now is what it is. But, you know, I'm sort of new to the TV writing game. I think my strength really lies in, like, monologue jokes. And if I was doing that and there rather than writing these sort of sketches, I think I would probably do better.
Right.
But I don't know. We'll see. It was a great experience. I mean, it's a great credit to be able to say, wow, I worked on this this show, you know.
Is it fun over there?
Yeah, it's great.
I've never been over there, but, you know, I know some of the people over there just because there's the crossover with Adam Carolla.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody's super friendly. It's a real I mean, obviously, Jimmy Kimmel's a super family-oriented guy, and I think that extends to not just his family, but I think a lot of the people who work there, it's very community-driven. And I was actually working more in the because of the nature of what I was doing, I was working kind of like in the advertising department because rather than the writing staff. So I was actually sharing an office with Mike August.
Oh, we know him well.
Of course, yeah.
How's that?
Well, that was great. I mean, Mike was just basically doing business on behalf of the Adam Carolla show most of the day. But he was, I got to know him. He was a great guy. No, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I would love to work there. Because I need money, yo. Come on, Jimmy. Cut me a break.
Yo, now is that yo-yo or is that yo, you know? It could be either, right?
I think it was you know. I think it was you know, because I think that's the only way I'm going to use it from now on.
Okay. Great.
You know, MTV Raps.
How did you start working with Ellen?
That was just it was a
one-off?
freelance thing, one-off thing. Yeah, I just know a lot of people. They know who to call when they need something done right. They call me.
But
I work cheap.
Do you have an agent who's putting you in touch with these people, or is
don't.
it really
I need
just
an
a
agent.
network? Just networking.
The Jimmy Kimmel job was just through Twitter because Molly, Jimmy's fiance, who also happens to be the head writer, was the head writer before they became a thing, of course. Followed me on Twitter and just thought it was funny. So
that's so great.
Yeah, it's great.
That's how you got on this podcast, which is also quite a feather in your cap.
This is huge. I'm actually changing my Twitter bio as soon as this is done.
Oh,
this is going
perfect.
#1.
Excellent.
But yeah, Twitter's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who don't really get it yet. But it's just, I mean, if it's just a great way to, if you're good, to get out there. And I mean, I would be nowhere without Twitter as far as in the comedy world. You know, I mean, everything I've got going has been through people following me on Twitter. You know.
Yeah. And is it more Twitter than knowing people in real life?
Well, you know, I think at this point it kind of blends together because you get to know people on Twitter really well, and then you meet them in person, and you kind of already know each other, and you become friends. That it's much easier to skip the "Hi, how are you?"
Right.
You just cut right to, "Hey, we know each other. We know each other's sense of humor. We know each other's sensibilities. We give each other shit on Twitter for fun, you know, and at replies and whatever." But yeah, I've met so many people that I'm friends with now, like people that like really good friends with through Twitter. It's crazy. Andy Levy on Red Eye. I know him through Twitter. He's like, I'm coming to New York. He's like, why don't you come on Red Eye? I'm like, sure. And then I found it, and I was like, how much does it pay? And he's like, it doesn't pay anything. It's a news show. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. If only that paid.
I'm really money driven right now. Just because, you know, the divorce and and like I'm unemployed right now. It's like I'm just really thinking about everything in terms of how can I get paid. This podcast pays, right?
Oh yeah.
It pays in Coke Zero.
Yes.
Free can of Coke Zero.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You'll need to declare that on your taxes. that free Coke Zero.
The aptly named Coke Zero.
Yeah, I don't want to waste a lot of time talking about this, but for just a second, isn't Coke Zero so much better than Diet Coke?
I go back and it depends on what mood I'm in. I mean, yeah.
You're buy Coke.
Coke Zero tastes more like Coke, but Diet Coke has a specific taste that sometimes over ice with a plate of Indian food. I don't know. There's something about that.
Really? So
Yeah.
you're at an Indian restaurant, you'd rather have Diet Coke?
I think so, yeah.
Well,
I
it's
don't know.
good that you can have both.
I can't. We live in America.
Yeah.
Even in Obama's socialist America, we still have a choice.
Right. Even in a socialist country run by a Kenyan, we can still drink. We still have our choice of 2 versions of Diet Coke.
Yeah.
So you sent over a song, right?
I did.
What's the story with that one?
Well, this is actually the song I mentioned earlier about the my kid that I wrote with my buddy Zach Selwyn. I did a sort of I wanted to start playing it live in my live performances, but that was a rap. So I was like, I have to make it into a real song. And so I kind of made it into kind of like a Bill Withers funky kind of thing. And that's one that I kind of I'm proud of. I think it's pretty cool.
Should we listen to it, or should we have you play something? Or I mean, we should do both, but I'm just trying to figure out.
Maybe we should listen to that.
Let's listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't heard it in a while. This part isn't funny.
I'll be the judge of that.
Okay. You're smiling.
It looks like Gary is DJing right now.
Paris Hilton's in there with him.
My kid is the playground king. Your kid is a ding-a-ling.
Is this you singing?
Smooth like silk. Yo kid, choke on milk. My kid, he pushed himself in his stroller. Yo kid, diagnosed bipolar. My kid steps on his own dick. Yo kid, hung like a candle wick. My kid, walk is 6 months old. Yo kid, wear clothes, Goodwill sold. My kid uses dick like a tripod. Yo kid, got Creed on his iPod. My kid, straight A's. Yo kid, shit for brains. My kid, sippy cup is full of White Russian. Yo kid, use a pre-slap as a cushion. It's time that we let the world know. Do you get goofy like Elmo? My kid is the best at the daycare. Rockstar, do all your kid rock the lame hair. It's time that we let the world know. Do you get goofy like Elmo? My kid is the best at the daycare. Oh, oh. Well, my kid pop a boner and rip his diaper. Yo kid's babysitter. My kid piped her. My kid could star in porn. Yo kid cried like a bitch when he was born. My kid potty trained in month 4. Yo kid still taking dumps on the floor. My kid eat meat that's lean. Yo kid vegan, need protein. My kid Wolfgang Van Halen. Yo kid Bristol Palin. My kid got blown by Hannah Montana. Yo kid got brought cold from Santa. It's time that we let the world know. Do you get goofy like Elmo? My kid is the best at the daycare. Rockstar, do all your kid rock the lame hair. It's time that we let the world know. Do you get goofy like Elmo? My kid is the best at the daycare. Oh, oh. Well, my kid, 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 my kid. Oh my God, let it go. What the fuck? Well, my kid, 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 my kid. Oh no, I'm fucking with the music now.
Oh yeah.
This is very yo.
2010, the year we made contact.
That holds up. Haven't
I
listened to it
like
in a
that,
while.
yeah. Now, how did your ex feel about that? Singing about your kids ding-a-ling and whatnot.
You know, I think maybe she was not crazy about all that, but anytime she would ever say, "What's up with this?" I would be like, "Well, look at Adam Sandler," and she's like, "Adam Sandler's a multimillionaire. Don't even for 1 second compare what because I think Adam Sandler sort of comparably has done some humor along those lines,
Right.
and I don't know. It's the nature of what you do. I mean, it's like you can't not do something because it might offend somebody in your. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying.
What does she do?
She owns her own business, importing picture frames.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was she supportive of the change from rocking to comedy?
Yeah, I mean, that was really not working so well, and the comedy seemed to be taking off. I mean, she's always been super supportive. I mean, we'll always be good friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a good supportive relationship with each other. We really do. But you know, people grow apart.
Is that what it was? For the answer to this and other exciting questions, don't forget to download the second part of my episode with Eli Braden, which will be available on Thursday morning. So tie a string on your finger and write it on your hand. Do both on both hands. I love you guys. Bye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Thank you for choosing the Alison Rosen show. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. That's right. That's right. Those good times don't seem to end. That's right. That's right. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now it's time to go. Hope to see you next time for the Alison Rosen show. Yeah! Yeah, Alison Rosen is your new best friend.
This is Corolla Digital.